So I think it's time that we bury the sort of foundation model that you see in initial coin offerings, and this came up today in the Tezos, clusterfuck, where its own attorney who set up the foundation said it was a bad model. Well, nothing like selling out your clients. But in any event, the whole non-for-profit and foundation is sort of, it really doesn't mean anything, and people want to banter about and act like it does, but it doesn't. Really what you're talking about is some sort of non-for-profit type entity that would like distribute the coin or the token and sort of like control that function. And I think it's totally wrong for three reasons. One, it sends the wrong message, right? All you have to do is look at Ripple to sort of show you that acting or purporting to be a non-for-profit is not the way you want to go in cryptocurrency. Ripple, you can't use that anywhere. And all Ripple really is it's sort of like the nice shiny car in the showroom, right? It's an example of what Ripple, the for-profit company that's doing things with the governments of South Korea and Japan, for instance, can do on their payment platform and their blockchain. It's just an example of why their blockchain is better than other blockchains, right? But it has no real value. I mean, it has, as a currency, it has very little use. I don't know anywhere you can even take it. So I think it sends the wrong sort of perception. The optics are all wrong when you're trying to raise money, and you're trying to raise money to grow something, right? To develop something, to further some sort of common enterprise that is essentially organized for the purpose of creating wealth, creating profit. So one, I think the optics are completely wrong. Two, I just think it's improbable, if not illegal, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at, if the ultimate purpose of the issuer of that ICO isn't some altruistic thing, like a charity, for instance, or, something like that, I don't know how you can logically qualify that or, qualitatively defend that as being a non-for-profit entity, like under any laws, right? Not just the United States, but anything. It clearly has a profit motivation, and the way that people operate is entirely inconsistent with that entity being a non-for-profit, right? Like it's just legally, it's a bit of legal fiction, right? And finally, I think it's outright fraudulent, right? I think if you're going to go into an ICO and talk about this foundation that like harbors the coin, is the keeper of the coin, is the trust, whatever you want to call it. And you can call it a million different things, but calling it a foundation doesn't make it anything different than what it really is, which is just another vehicle to sell a token, right? To sell a license, to sell a security, to sell a commodity. So call it whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. Call it a space bunny. It doesn't matter. It's just another investment vehicle, right? And so I think it's outright fraudulent to the extent that you're going to represent to people up front prior to and during the ICO that this is this non-for-profit foundation, or there's not a profit motive behind it, or whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, you see a lot of ICOs where people are enriching themselves, which to some degree I can agree with, because obviously your sweat equity is into this project and you need to be paid. But that totally belies what like the concept of like a non-for-profit would be. So I'm not even a big fan of sort of bifurcating where the token comes from to where the IP or whatever that token plugs into is. I don't think that makes a great deal of sense to begin with. And when you want to muddy the waters and create these foundations, especially like in Switzerland where they're wildly expensive, as is all the incorporations there, when you talk about the capital requirements that you have to prove, you get nothing for it. You get absolutely nothing for it. You could do if you really wanted to do a non-for-profit, you could do it in the United States for about $10 to do the incorporation and about $300 with the IRS to get the 501c3 qualification. And in the context of an ICO, you're just completely misleading your investors. I think it's just a complete misunderstanding of the law, what a quote-unquote foundation is, and why you need that in the grand scheme of what you're offering. Ultimately, you're just selling people a token that has no attachment to anything, and that foundation is just, it's nonsensical. And and outright misleading. And I don't think there's any way you come back from that, right? And you're seeing that with some of these, right, where people are inherently not understanding that there is this profit motive, which I think there should be. You want to see development in blockchain? Well, it's not Bitcoin. It's not like the faceless, headless horseman that's Bitcoin, where it can never improve and it's built on a terrible blockchain. The future is for-profit enterprises, because what are they doing? They are existing for the purpose of launching a product, right? They're existing for the purpose of like a blockchain-based solution that improves people's lives, improves people's businesses. And, to sit there and go, this is some sort of like altruistic non-for-profit thing, totally belies anything we know about in terms of forward progress, economically, and building like shareholder wealth, building investor wealth. So that's my take. Stay away from that. It's an extra cost, if anything, and it doesn't give you any benefit, and just leads you up to significant liability if things were to go sideways on you. So check me out. Hit me up with any questions. Thanks for everybody for reminding me to actually put contact info in my YouTube stuff, so you can see it in there now, so you can reach me. But check me out. I'm Adam Tracy. Till next time.